we'll do the live thing first. Like, hey everybody, welcome back to the Bigmark podcast. It's me, your host, Bigmark. If it's your first time watching, welcome. But if not, welcome back. Like I always say, if you're wanting to reach out to the podcast for any reason, let us know about an episode. Come on as a guest. Hit us up. We always love to have you. If not, hit us up in any way other than that. Like I said, on our DMs at Twitter or Instagram at the Bigmark Pod or at the Bigmark Podcast. The best way you can show your support is by sharing the podcast. If you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe to the channel so you know when the next videos are coming out. And then you can check out our Patreon too, patreon.com/BigmarkPod. We got a couple different ways to donate to the podcast there. Again, like I said, thank you all for being here. It's the most important thing is you guys, and this is what I do it for. So thanks for coming. Thanks for being here. Thanks for devoting your time, whether it's the morning, afternoon, or night, whenever you're listening. Wherever you are, wherever you be. Super excited about this episode because I'm getting ready for another visit back to Inverness, Nova Scotia, Canada. Out on the east coast there in Cape Breton, one of the farthest parts of the of the east coast, the eastern east coast, the east of the east coast, the eastest east coast. No, not quite, but it's the eastern part of Nova Scotia, which is out in on the east coast of Canada, for all of our listeners who are unfamiliar with Canadian geography. But this will actually be our second time at the Banks Schoolhouse Music Festival. I'm really excited about it. I'm talking about myself and my great friend John Harley, who's also in my band with me, Reckless Harbor. Check us out, Reckless Harbor with the W. No wrecks in the harbor. So we're really excited to go out east and play out there because we feel like we're really going to fall in line and fit out there. I mean, with our last band with John on violin, or if you're asking anyone out there on fiddle, it's very fitting. It makes sense that, everyone out there on the East Coast loves, fiddle, Gaelic, Celtic, Irish inspired music. It's very musical out on the East Coast. I don't know if you've ever been, but it's really beautiful, and how much it's part of the culture, and so many families have bonfires or cookouts or basement parties or garage parties or gatherings of whatever type, and they're all playing music together, from grandma to grandson, and it's super, super cool to see that kind of go through life, and see just how strong the music culture is out east. And now with Reckless Harbor being a little bit more of an indie folk band, it's very much East Coast inspired, because Trevor Roach, my other buddy in the band, his family is actually from out east, and in fact they're actually from Inverness. The Roach family actually came over from Inverness and moved to Ontario later on, and every year they actually host a family reunion called Roachapalooza, and every other year it flips back and forth between Ontario and Nova Scotia. Last year was in Ontario at Trevor's dad's place in Hagersville, which was an amazing, amazing party. And then this year it's going back to Inverness. And then this is also it's 1 week apart. We thought it was the same weekend when we first planned this, but it's a week apart. One weekend is the Banks Schoolhouse, and the next weekend is Roachapalooza, which is super awesome. It worked out perfectly. We're going to camp out there. The band's going out there. We're doing our little East Coast swing. Trev's driving out there. We're going to fly out there. The rest of us are going to fly out there, meet him out in Halifax. We're going to play a show in Halifax. It's going to be super fun. If any of our listeners out in the Halifax area, check out the Open Book Cafe. It's called. It's in Halifax. Open Book Coffee. It's in Halifax on August 3rd. So check us out, 7 p.m. And then August 5th in Inverness at the Banks Schoolhouse. And I believe we're playing somewhere in Inverness during the week as well, potentially. But check us out. Follow us on Reckless Harbor at Reckless Harbor on Instagram. But yeah, it's going to be a beautiful, wonderful musical journey. Last time we went out there and played music, it was so much fun. I mean, I'm always the first one to draw an analogy between music and playing sports. I think they're so similar. I mean, I grew up playing sports, so I only have so many things to relate things to. But I mean, realistically, it's so similar. I mean, you're in a band, you're on a team. Each one of you is playing a different instrument. I mean, it's tough to say that for every sport, but like, I come from a football background where, different units of the team are doing different things that are separate from the others and inextricably linked. Yes. But when I was an offensive lineman, what I was doing was totally different from what the wide receiver was doing, from what the quarterback, the receiver, the whole defense. So that whole mindset is completely evident. But again, going out and traveling and going to play a show, or in my case, my history playing games, it's right in my wheelhouse. So I'm super excited to do that. I'm super excited to feel that feeling of going out and, doing that. And then, also enjoying the beauty that is Eastern Canada in August, especially Inverness, Cape Breton. It's going to be absolutely beautiful. Some of the best golf in the world. Cabot Links and Cabot Cliffs, they are some of the best golf courses in the world. I may or may not play those. I am hoping that I get to play some golf at least. I'm going to probably have to ship my clubs out there. It's going to be weird. I got extended clubs. I can't really rent clubs. So I get myself in a pickle here, but what can you do it? But like we said, we're going to be also playing the Banks Schoolhouse Music Festival, which 6 years ago, I played the 8th annual Banks Schoolhouse Music Festival with John Harley in our last band. I believe at the time we were called Elexir. And we changed our name eventually and then had to change it to something else. But regardless, we went over there and it was a rip-roaring time. 6 years ago, Mike Nikas, who organizes the event, and his wife Winnie put on a wonderful event. Mark Poirier is also one of the people that was helping out with us when we were there last time. He was out there helping us get ready to play a couple tunes, and we just had a great time. He put us up in these little kind of like bunkies. They're like right on the grounds of the festival. So we like slept there the first night and then played a show and then like crashed there and then went out to an Airbnb the next time. So when we first flew out there, we flew into Halifax. We stayed there the first night. We actually got a room at the university, at St. Mary's University there. We rented one of the dorm rooms there, so we chilled out there. And then went out just to a random bar. We didn't even know where we were. It was like the end of Busker Fest in Halifax, and we didn't even know where we were, and went into this random bar called Sniggly Wiggly's, and it was like some of the best music I ever heard. It turned out, at least what I heard, it turned out to be like Matt Mays' band. It wasn't Matt Mays and El Torpedo. It wasn't Matt Mays, I should say. It was El Torpedo. So it was like the band that played with Matt Mays. And they were just fantastic. And like people were coming out, like they would like put the mic in the crowd and the people would sing, and they were like just as good as the people on stage. And like, that's what I mean about the East Coast. There's just like, there's this amazing kind of musical talent, if you will, but just like a connection to music where, I think people are a lot more comfortable, performing potentially. And then we ended up renting a car, which was a bit of a nightmare because we kind of waited to the last minute and ended up renting a car that was a little bit, I don't know if it was out of our budget per se, but we didn't know. They're like, all we have is a truck. And we're like, oh shit, it's going to be like a fucking, single cab work truck, basically Ford F-150. Like we're going to be fucked. But it turned out to be like a Ram 1500 Laramie edition, like the best of the best Ram truck. It was huge, quad cab, giant interior, leather, beautiful. So it was a beautiful ride from Halifax to Inverness, which is like close to 4 hours. And yeah, it was just a beautiful drive, scenery, Canso Causeway, all that stuff. Wonderful. Like I said, we stayed in the bunkies, we played the show, and then the next day we were driving out to the Airbnb that we were going to stay in, which was on this wonderful kind of secluded lake. That it was a lake, but like one of the ends of the lake, like the extreme borders of one of the sides of the lake, was in this depression kind of thing where there was like kind of like an escarpment, kind of a little bit like this outcropping of land, and then it like came down to a bit of a valley. And where the lake met this little mound where the valley was, it was like just on the other side was the ocean. So it was like almost like this lake touched the ocean, basically. If you saw it from an aerial view, you would barely see any land in between, where the lake was and the ocean was. But again, one was the lake, one was the ocean. Super interesting. Got out there and like paddled a little bit out there, but on the drive out, we took a wrong turn and ended up going like through like a fucking ATV trail. Like it wasn't even like a logging trail. Like there was some fucking into the wild Christopher McCandless bus that was like abandoned down there, super trippy. Anyway, we were having a hell of a time, so much fun, laughing our asses off. And then we played a second show. We actually played 2 shows in the festival. It was a multi-day festival at the time, but over the years it's kind of changed. Mike's been putting this on for 14 years now, and every year's kind of been a little bit tentative. It takes a lot of money and effort, and there's been great fundraising, don't get me wrong. The community has stepped up huge every year, and they've been able to put it on, but the bands don't get paid, kind of thing. Like it's we're trying to make it fun for everyone who's there. And Mike is putting us up in his rental place. He has another Airbnb place, and that's more than pay. Like that's our payment, but that's more than enough. Like that's so generous, of him to even do that. So, but we're so happy to go out and play. And again, it's so funny that the timing works out that we're also going to be able to play Roachapalooza. It's actually pretty interesting. This year's lineup. Is great lineup. Tyler Mullendore, Big Marsh, the band, the Brackish, which is another great band, then Barons, Cleaver House, Brian Doyle, who's a fantastic guitar player. We played with him a few years ago. A surprise guest fiddler who may or may not wear a kilt. Take that as you will. Might be Ashley McIsaac, but we'll see. Hey, what can you do? Premiere showing of Tyler Mullendore's no music video, and that's the cool thing about the Banks Schoolhouse festival too, is that they'll show movies and everything like that. Lookout Tower, the band is playing, and then Reckless Harbor. I don't know if this is. I guess it's the lineup, so I guess we're closing it out, which is going to be wonderful. 6 p.m. sharp to midnight, August 5th, 2024. Rain days, August 6th. So if there's rain, which probably is pretty common out there. It'll be the 6th, but we'll be out there because we're going to be camping for the rest of the week, and then getting ready to get our fucking jam on at Roachapalooza again, which is going to be super fun. So yeah, if you are in the area, it's on Banks Road, Inverness, Cape Breton Island, Nova Scotia. And again, so yeah, it'd be really interesting. Go check out Banks Schoolhouse, Cape Breton. Check it out. If you're out there, that'd be wonderful for you to come by. Everyone else who's going to be playing there is just going to be tremendous. Going to be fantastic. And again, like I said, we're going out there, we're playing, we're going to be kind of doing it's funny enough, we're going to be doing a similar kind of schedule, if you will, when we're flying out there with Reckless Harbor this year. Like I said, we're going to be playing Open Book Cafe August 3rd. So that's the day that we actually fly in. So we're flying in on the 3rd. And then landing, getting our stuff, I guess, like we have like a little Airbnb thing, getting our stuff in there, and then going to play the show, crashing, and then driving out the next day, getting out there, getting ourselves situated, and then playing the show Monday night. And it's really interesting, it's like, it's like kind of one of those things where you think about doing something like this. You're like, I mean, yeah, okay, I did it with Alexa. We had tons of fun. But even back then when we did it, I felt the same thing where it's like, you want to do these things, you want to do tours, you want to go out, you want to go and experience music and play in new places and all this stuff. And like, yes, of course, money is involved, and thank God we've been really good with our money with this band. We've squirreled everything away, and it's basically paying for most of the trip, which is amazing, and I'm so thankful for that. But again, apart from money getting you out there, so some bands have to get with record labels and stuff like that, but like realistically, it doesn't cost that much money to go out there. And then when you set up shows, you can make money, and you can get a little bit of that, and at least like go on a trip for free, which is super fucking sick, super awesome. Or at least get your room and board paid for, like in this case too. But again, that's the thing, right? Like, these little festivals, these little things, and this is going to be the last one that Mike does. He says this is the 14th and final. So we're so appreciative to be a part of it. It's going to be amazing. We're going to be camping for the rest of the week, and then Roachapaloozing it up. And the camping should be beautiful. I mean, it's supposed to be wonderful out there. I mean, again, hopefully the weather is nice for us. But if not, there's not too many people that are there's a lot of people that aren't too far away with Trevor's family and everyone who's going to be in town, which is great. So go follow us, Reckless Harbor. Check us out. You'll see when we're playing in Inverness. It's going to be super fun. Not just the Banks, but I mean the other gig that we're going to play. I think it's a Wednesday night, like in one of the... Let me see if I can actually bring that up, because, whoever is in town, that would be super awesome. Shoot, it's going to be hard. John and Lauren, Trev and Mark. John and Lauren, Trev and Mark. The Annex. So we're playing Thursday, August 8th in the Annex, which is in Inverness. So check us out. That's going to be awesome. Banks Schoolhouse, August 5th. And then Roachapalooza, if you're a Roach family member, I think that's one of the prerequisites, unless you're in Reckless Harbor. But thank you all. Hopefully I'll see y'all out there. That'd be so much fun. Banks Schoolhouse, thank you, Mike, for everything you've ever done. He's been our photographer in my old band, and we're lucky to have someone out there who's putting on these festivals, these small little things that everyone's doing, that everyone's getting together, bringing a community together. And it takes a village and it takes a community really to put these things together. So super excited, really excited to be back out there and get a little R&R with a little R&R, if you know what I'm saying. Thank y'all for listening. Love y'all. Talk to you soon. Peace.